So greetings from Pennsylvania once again. I'm still here in Michaud State Forest. I've been here all day. It's February 10th, just filming a number of different things. And what is that up there? Anyway, yeah, we've been doing some exploring, cool rock formations and things like that, but now it's time for something a little bit different. Another one of our Bigfoot stories. I know some of you like these videos and some of you don't, but we're gonna do another one. I'll show you what's looking at here. Looked a little creepy, but just, I'm not sure what it is. It's just a trail here. Some old furniture maybe, I guess. Some dumped back here. How nice. Nothing to do with Bigfoot. But yeah, our story takes place here. I am here in Michaud State Forest. I am on just off of Newman Road, which is just south of Route 30 near Caledonia State Park. If you're familiar with the area. And our story takes place here in this area. The person that told this story lives nearby. And he said the area he went to was full of laurel and rhododendron like this. So we may be in the same spot he was. We gotta find a place to tell the story. It's pretty, and regardless of what you believe, Michaud State Forest is considered a hotbed for Bigfoot activity. So I think my first Bigfoot story I've told you was here, a place called Brown Rocks, a little bit north of here. And the story I tell you today is different from the other ones. Includes some other items, as you'll find out that the other ones didn't. Which makes it a little bit more interesting, but at the same time a little bit more, you know, we'll see. I just want to find a place to sit. Read this to you. Really mushy back here. But maybe this spot right here will work. We're just surrounded by these rhododendrons. It's not like a jungle, but there's one nice little clear spot here. You know, I can understand how it does feel kind of squatchy in here, as the phrase goes. And not to be critical of the story just yet, but you could see how, I mean, anything walking through here is going to make a lot of noise. But at the same time, kind of be difficult to see at the same time. Of course, he was up in a tree stand, but still, you know, it's thick country in here. And let me get myself set up with my place to sit, set the camera up, and we'll read the story to you. All right, so here we go. Time for story time. It's actually kind of a nice little spot here, just tucked away in these rhododendron bushes. So a little bit a longer one than some of them, but that makes for a better story sometimes. Put my reading glasses on just to be able to read it better for you. So this takes place in October of 1997, so some time ago. Of course, the location details Michaud State Forest, right here in this area. Name some specific roads, but I'm going to let those go because they're kind of residential roads. Right, observed. Okay, I live in a fairly remote part of Adams County, Pennsylvania, and the event in question occurred near my house in the Michaud State Forest area near such and such a road. The forest here is mainly white pines and oak. It is high in elevation, and there is enormous amounts of mountain laurel and high rhododendron. That's exactly what it is right here. On this morning, I awoke for a morning bow hunt, hunting, or archery hunting. When I left my house to walk the half-mile or so to the area I had seen some deer sign previously, I noticed that the weather was going to be perfect. There wasn't any wind at all, and it was cool, so the ground was crunchy. While walking to my stand in the dark, I got maybe 200 yards from my stand when I heard this noise that scared the bleep out of me. It was sort of like a howl. Okay, imagine walking through this stuff and hearing a howl. I had never heard anything like it before in my life. I tried to rationalize it as a wild dog or coyote and continued on. Yeah, what would you do? You're out here like this and you hear some sound. All right, let's continue on. A short while later, I was 25 feet up in my stand, watching the woods around me as lightness came, so he started his hike in the dark, as most hunters do. Shortly after daybreak, I heard several deer crashing through the laurel towards me. I readied my bow, and 4 does, female deer, came running within 15 yards. They appeared to be spooked by something. And I think you know what that something is. A couple minutes or so it seemed later, I heard more crunching coming towards me. I again got myself ready in case a buck was following the noise that was in case a buck was following the does, which is normally what happens during hunting season. The bucks are, they're following does for certain reasons, as you know. Anyway, the noise that was approaching was kind of strange. It sounded more deliberate as it closed in. It's kind of a cool story. I saw several flashes of brown hair through the thick laurel. And as you can see, it is very thick laurel, so all you would see is like little flashes of brown. And then I saw it. It was no deer. It was a bipedal creature about 7 to 8 feet tall. As it ran by me, it never stopped. I noticed it had matted hair all over it. By this point, I had nearly bleeped a brick. Then I heard more sounds coming towards me. Okay, this is where it gets interesting, because he sees his initial Bigfoot sighting, which we'll talk about that in a moment. Like, it is pretty thick stuff here. But then what comes next is different, like I said, from any other stories we've told. Then I heard more sounds coming towards me. 2 more Bigfoots were approaching very fast. These ones stopped, and I got a fairly good look at them. One appeared to be substantially smaller than the first one, and it was dragging a baby Bigfoot along with it. These also fled the area very quickly, and it seemed as though they were following the largest one. So, a daddy Bigfoot and a mommy and a baby? That's what the story seems to be saying. After all the Sasquatchian activity ceased, I sat in my seat and checked my pants to see. I was scared to death. I also noticed the Bigfoots left a foul, garbage-like odor behind. That's what most people tell in their stories, there's a smell. Finally, I gathered myself enough to get down the tree and back home. I have never returned to this spot since I had that multiple Bigfoot encounter. Since that event, I've seen other evidence of Sasquatchian activity here. I think the area is full of Bigfoots. So there you go. There's quite a bit to digest in that story. This is the first time we've had a family of Bigfoot or Big Feet, whatever you want to call them, that someone records seeing. As a different element to the stories, not sure if it makes it more believable or not. Because in reality, if Bigfoot is a real thing out here in the forest, you would think there would be multiple, like there'll be families, male and females and little ones. So in that sense, it makes sense, I guess. But some key elements of the story that come to mind. One thing that comes to mind again is the thick rhododendron forest that we're in. It's just very difficult to see clearly. I know he was up in a tree, but you're still looking down into this. This stuff is taller than I am. And it was just after daybreak too, so not necessarily, full sunlight yet, you know what I'm saying? So you get thick rhododendrons and maybe not the best of daylight yet. That can make seeing things more difficult, or make you think you're seeing things you're not. But before I start getting too critical, I want to remind you of the purpose of this series. Remember, this series is not to prove or disprove the existence of Bigfoot. This is just me recounting people's experiences and just reading them to you, and I kind of give my thoughts of it and like to hear what you think of each story. I try to see both sides of the story. Like I said, the whole family Bigfoot thing is intriguing, but it's good. So try to find both sides of the story, not just be critical, but do the pros and cons. So try to do that yourself. I know it's difficult for some of you. Some of you hate these videos, that you think Bigfoot's whatever, and some of you love these stories because you're Bigfoot believers. I've told you in the past I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, but yeah. But that is my one concern with the story. It's just the thickness of the area and maybe the lack of light. So I did another video where we talked about how when you see things, your mind kind of fills in the blanks sometimes. So imagine seeing a flash of brown just run across the trail. What was it? Your mind can do things. So, because that's pretty much all you see. Because if there's something walking through here, you wouldn't see it. You'd have to see it like in a little gap somewhere. But at the same time, whatever he saw, it definitely left an impression on him. It scared him enough that he never returned to this area. So take that into account. A grown man not returning to an area because of something he saw. And also the smell. Almost all Bigfoot stories are consistent with there being a smell. Of course, if they're making it up, they could just throw that in there to make it more believable, because that's what other stories are saying. There's that aspect to it as well. But anyway, let me know down below what you think of this story. Like I said, it's a different one. It includes a whole family. You know, dad up ahead. You know, track. Well, it's the first time we've had the Bigfoot or the big feet's like tracking animals, like they're hunting out here, not just walking around. So his story contains that too. And then mom and baby following behind. But like I said, let me know down below what you think. I do enjoy reading your comments. But on that note, you know, if you're too harsh or too critical, I do delete those comments sometimes. You can disagree respectfully with someone's story, but when you get some of you just get a little bit too well, you know, I don't really tolerate that much on my channel, so keep it clean and keep it respectful. But yeah, let me know what you think. It's an interesting one, a different story. As usual, I'm kind of caught in the middle with these stories. I've explained my whole beliefs on Bigfoot in the first video in this series. I believe he saw something. You know, for a grown man to get scared, you know, and to admit it is unusual. So I think, along with a lot of the other stories, I think he saw something out here. The whole there being a family of Bigfoot, I find that intriguing, but I don't know if that really helps me to make the story more believable. I don't know. Sometimes I'm more on the side that if Bigfoot is real, that he's more of some kind of something in the spiritual realm, or in, I don't know, that kind of realm of things, in an actual physical thing. I don't know. So there being a family of Bigfoot, I don't know if that really helps me. But at the same time, if Bigfoot is real in a physical way, then there would have to be families of big feet out here too. So anyway, I don't really have much more to say about this story. It was an interesting one, a different one. I'm glad I got to read it to you. So, but I think that'll be it, folks. Like I said, let me know below what you think. I'm gonna get on going. I'm not sure if I'm gonna head home. I've been spending the whole day here in Womelsdorf State Forest. I don't know what time it is anymore. Thanks for coming along. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one.